In this video, we're going to move something closer to reality using the paradigm of probability, possibility, and reality. So the first step of moving something towards reality, if you or I desire something that does not currently exist in our reality, it has to pass through the first membrane, which is possibility, meaning it's not there, it's out here, and it must consciously move over the barrier to being something that is possible. Most importantly, we have to believe that it is possible, because it may well be possible, but if we don't believe it's possible, then we will not explore it in any other way, other than maybe to enviously punish other people for whom we believe it is possible. So that's the first threshold. So we've now moved it into possibility. And if you're uncertain about this, write it down. This is what I want. Is it possible? Do I believe that it is possible? Now, once you and I believe that it's possible, we can then look at the next hurdle, which is it probable? Now, you can go to Vegas and place 100 random bets, but it is not probable that you will come away with more money than you went in with. It is improbable. Now, if you happen to be one of less than 1% of 1% of highly talented, whether it's a card shark or have some other way of rigging the system, changing the system, then you have a higher probability. But for the typical person, Vegas is set up to be improbable, meaning you're supposed to walk in with lots of money, you're supposed to make lots of bets, and you're supposed to leave most of that money in Vegas. That's Vegas's intention. And so the average person should not go to Vegas betting money unless it is also their intention to lose all of that money. Because that's probably what's going to happen. Now, to move something up the probability field, to make something that is improbable probable, you have to take a series of actions. So if you take a series of actions, then something becomes more or less probable. And so at this threshold between possibility and probability, the goal is to move the desired end, the desired outcome, towards something that is more likely to happen. And the completion point of this stage is that it is much more likely to happen than not to happen. Now, when you're playing dice, which is, interacting with the probability field, it is an intelligent step to make something a little bit more likely to happen, even if it's not terribly likely. If lottery tickets were free, meaning you didn't have to pay out, a lot of money to buy them, and you have the chance of having one lottery ticket or 1 million lottery tickets, it is intelligent, even if your odds are still, only, 5%, to go from 1% probability to 5% probability. The key thing is being aware of the cost-benefit trade-off at this stage. So if you can spend $1 million to become 10% more probable that you will win $1 million, you're actually spending 90 cents to get 10 cents in that dynamic. So it's not a good bet. I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, and this outcome would become more probable. However, the cost of doing so is too high. And so you're wanting to move the needle towards more probability at a lower cost than the end outcome. And so this is really easy to understand in business because we pay attention to money in a capitalist cult. But it's important in any arena. If you want more love in your life, for example, and you have to give up caring for your body, for your mind, for your heart, for your I guess that pretty much covers it, but perhaps for your bank account, if you have to give up 10 units of well-being, like you normally do a meditation in the morning, and you normally go for a nice walk, and you normally invest in a delicious, freshly squeezed organic orange juice and an espresso, and it's delightful, and so you feel like you're caring for yourself. If that's your definition of care, you feel great about that. So that gives you 10 units of well-being over a 1-hour period or a 90-minute period. Now, for you to, for example, not do that, but instead spend time on a dating app, which you'll spend 90 minutes and you have maybe a 10% chance of meeting someone that will treat you half as well as you treat yourself in that, early morning ritual. It's not a good return on investment. You are moving the needle up. The probability that somebody writing to you that has the capacity to treat you better than you treat yourself, which is one of the holy grails in relationship, it almost never happens. Most people treat you as well as you treat yourself or worse, because it doesn't require any thought. They just copy the way you're treating yourself, or if they don't like that, then they don't connect. But if you give up that 90 minutes in the chance that you might meet someone, there's a 10% chance you'd meet someone who would treat you more poorly, than you would treat yourself, because you've, been on this dating app and no one has ever invited you out for a croissant with an espresso with your favorite orange juice and your favorite beach, and then done a lovely meditation, right? But you've got, guaranteed victory and success there. But you could give that victory and success up for a 10% chance that, you might meet someone that on average will treat you 50% as well as you treat yourself. That's not a good bet. You would take the bet that you're going to treat yourself well. However, if you encounter, this doesn't take 90 minutes, as if you encounter someone and you watch them treating this person and you watch them treating that person, incredibly well. You look at, and you say, wow, that person is treating that person 90% better than average. 900%, that's incredible. So, and there they are. It's not a guesswork. But you might spend a minute saying, it'd be nice to get to know you a little better. Here's my contact information. That takes a minute. And then you go back to, your routine. That may be a good bet. And so in other words, you want to invest energy that increases the probability of the good outcome, what you're focusing on, the goal. But you want to do it intelligently. You do not want to spend so much energy that you're actually you're taking away from guaranteed wins, such as, going for a lovely walk or spending time with someone you love or whatever it is, in order to take something that's way out there that is just not going to likely feel as good as what you're doing. So you want to spend energy, but you want to spend it intelligently. So once you've spent energy intelligently, meaning you've spent less energy to get higher probable results. Now, this may require you to do some thinking. Like, you may have to analyze and say, every time I've walked into this door, I've spent $100, and I've come out of this door an average of 3 hours later. And it was better, the cost and time, the cost on my body, the cost of this money, whether that's a casino, whether that's a movie theater, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's an attorney's office. I went in there, I spent this amount of time and this amount of money, and I came out feeling better or worse. That's the probability field. If you've walked into this room 10 times and you feel 10% better for 3 hours and it costs you $100, but you could do this other thing that would make you feel 30% better in 1 hour and it's free. Well, that's where a lot of, cross examination is important. We're losing our screen here. So cross-examination of what has this high return on investment. Hang on. That's what we want to analyze at this stage of, deciding what to tackle. And then once you've set it up, that it is more likely that you will succeed at whatever it is your desire, that it is more likely that you will succeed than you will fail, then you have to repeat the protocol until you succeed. Like, if gambling was rigged in your favor, that you won 70% of the bets, well, you might have to place 10 bets before you win. You win 7. Or you might have to do 20. You could place the first 3 bets and be losing. But if you place 10 bets and those are the odds, most likely you're going to get 7 wins. So you just have to do enough betting in that arena of your life with the odds in your favor. You don't bet in Vegas because the odds are not in your favor. The odds are in the favor of the house, or they wouldn't bet you. So you want to take bets that are in your favor when you succeed at them, that they're more in your favor than the other things that you could be doing with your energy, time, money, and natural resources, and that you're winning most of the time. Now, there's also a skill set, and then you just repeat. You have a discipline of that protocol. I need to have 100 conversations, and then I have one conversation in 100 that is so good that it's worth all of the effort in the other 99 conversations. So that could be one scenario. It's like you hit the jackpot, but the jackpot is so big that it's worth that process. So that's one phenomena. Now the other thing to be aware of as you hit the goal and then perhaps repeat is there is a technology of winning while losing. And this can be useful for things when you do not know how to get the odds up or bring the cost down, but you still want to pursue the objective. There is a way to win while losing. Now, you can go to the Vegas example for this and say, well, I enjoy high adrenaline environments. I enjoy high dopamine environments. Vegas supplies both of those. So I'm winning while I'm losing my money. Dating supplies high dopamine, high adrenaline in certain situations, or pornography offers high dopamine, high adrenaline in, that's, I think, its greatest selling point. So I want a win for me is a buzz, whether it's, from this or this or this. So I'm winning while I'm losing. And then sometimes I'm winning while I'm winning. You can also work with those dynamics looking at the short and long-term curve. Because sometimes you feel so terrible in a moment that a certain thing that has a long-term detriment makes the moment bearable. Anesthetics, blame, self-pity, cocaine, whatever. It has a long-term detriment, but it has a short-term benefit. You didn't get fired because you kept your mouth shut, because it never works with your boss to actually tell them how you're feeling about something. And you didn't bother to get another job yet. And so, that's, this thing, I took a couple of tokes, right? And, my boss just did their normal thing, but I just let it go. And it's not necessarily good for my lungs to have smoke in them. It's not necessarily a nice smell. It's probably not the best long-term solution, but, while I'm figuring this out, I got through, today. How can you win while losing? Well, one of the things you could do to win while losing is study psychology. If you understand that the single biggest agency on the planet is human beings, and that every single human being in the history of humanity has done whatever they've done based on their feelings. Meaning, if you had zero feelings, even if you thought this was a good idea, the chemicals wouldn't fire, you would take no action. Emotion is energy in motion. It's what galvanizes all behavior. Every single action in human history, including every action you've ever taken, has been in a dance with a feeling. And that's the same with every other person in your life. So if you figure out more of the code, some of the rules, like 3 times 3 equals 9, every time, just 3 times, there it is, 9, amazing. If you figure out some of the rules in this language, this mathematical language of feelings, well, if that's a potent asset. Now, if your goal, your deeper goal, is to understand yourself and understand other people, and you pause and reflect and integrate on every experience you have, pleasurable and painful, suddenly you're winning while you're losing, and you're winning while you're winning. You just had to have a big enough vision. If your goal is to have a wide range of experiences so that you can empathize with a wide range of people, you will win every single time. Particularly if you go out and do something new. And so you could go out and do something new, and it's like, I failed at that, and I failed at that, and I failed at that, and I failed at that. But while I was failing, I was succeeding. I understood that person better. I understood that person better. Oh my goodness, that person, now I know what they felt. Now I know what they did, why they did. My goodness, I'm a winner because I desire psychological literacy. I desire competency in a psychological domain. So I am winning every step of the way. Now, That's obviously more intelligent. It's more fun to win than it is to fail. So it's more intelligent to design a life in which you're always winning while you're winning, but you're also always winning while you're losing, while you're learning, while you're practicing to move something you desire efficiently from an impossibility to a possibility for you, and from a possibility to a probability for you, and from a probability to a highly probable thing for you, and then from a highly probable thing to reality, to it existing. Because if it does not exist, it meant you got your equation wrong. One of the values was off. Because obviously if it was highly probable and it never happens, it wasn't actually highly probable. So then you have to go back and examine the formula. I was supposed to do this, and then that was supposed to lead to this, very likely. That's what Uncle Joe said. That's what Aunt Mary said. That's what I saw on the advertisement. I did this, but it hasn't happened. I bought the right shaving cream. I'm still not George Clooney. My goodness, something's off, right? The advertisers lied, right? So you go back to the equation and say, oh, I see. It wasn't the shaving cream. It was the acting competence. And my goodness, I haven't studied a single hour of acting, so it was a lie. The advertisers paid someone to lie, and an advertising, creative ad person, to lie to me, to convince me that if I bought this, I would do this, just because they wanted to make lots of money at my expense, right? They're cheating me. But so let's think this through. Before we buy the next thing, let's really think this through. Now we're winning while losing if we're studying psychology. How did I fall for that? Let's learn about that. Now we're winning while losing.
Hi, I'm Dan Rose. All knowledge begins with a paradigm, and out of that paradigm comes an idea, an awareness that we adopt, reject, or synthesize into something better. It doesn't become wisdom, it doesn't become useful until we take action, until we integrate it into not only our thoughts, but our feelings, our body, our words, and our way of being. For that to occur, we have to move from the passive media paradigm into more active engagement. In the link below, in the More Information section, is an invitation to join a very small, deliberately filtered, high-quality discussion with a group of people who share a common language and want to work with these ideas, with me and with one another, with the sole goal of creating 10 times more sustainable well-being for ourselves and those around us per unit of energy invested. Thank you for watching.